You say you're gathering information. How are you gathering that information? Do you expect to have an independent U.S. assessment to follow on Humera's question?
So I don't want to prejudge what we'll say in the days to come. I can tell you what we're doing right now is gathering information through all of the ways in which we usually gather information.
And have you been in touch with any Lebanese or Israeli officials?
I can't read out every contact that we've had in the last couple of hours. It's only been a couple of hours since this incident happened, but of course we're gathering information through diplomatic channels as well as other channels about this incident.
There are reports that the Iranian ambassador to Lebanon was also injured in this attack incident. Are you concerned about Iran taking advantage of this to also
So we've seen those reports.
Have you seen any indications that they plan to?
First of all, apologies for interrupting in the middle of the question. I've seen the reports. I don't want to speak to what the implications might be before a report is confirmed, but certainly, as is always the case, we would urge Iran not to take advantage of any incident, any instability, to try to add further instability and to further increase tensions in the region. That has been our message to Iran since October 7th. Go ahead.
Just a quick follow-up, and you offered a line on it, but just to make sure it's airtight. So the U.S. was in no way involved in terms of supporting this operation, offering intelligence. In no way was the U.S.
Correct.
involved. Okay, and no part of the U.S. government, I understand you speak only for this department, but such disclaimers have been offered from state before. You were not given a heads up.
We were not aware of this incident, no.
Okay, on ceasefire talks, is the expectation still that a renewed bridging proposal is expected to arrive this week?
So I have not put a timetable on that. I think I was asked about this a number of times yesterday. I said I'm not going to put a timetable on when we might put forward a further proposal. We are engaged with, we continue to be engaged with the other two mediators in the conflict, Egypt and Qatar. The secretary is on his way to Egypt right now. We'll be meeting with Egyptian officials about a number of things, but squarely on the agenda is how we get a proposal that we think would secure agreement from both parties. I don't want to put a timetable on when we would put that proposal forward, because ultimately we want a proposal that's going to get to yes, and it's very important that we, as you've heard the secretary say, stop the haggling back and forth. And so when we present a proposal, we want to know it's going to get to yes, and that's the work that we're doing with our Egyptian and Qatari partners this week.
Are the Qataris involved? Because I understand that the secretary is in Cairo specifically speaking on discrete topics with the Egyptians, but are the Qataris and Israelis going to be looped in as part of these discussions?
We are. So the secretary is in Egypt having bilateral meetings with Egypt, but we continue to discuss on a daily basis this process with the Qataris, as well as in a different format with the Israelis. The Israelis are obviously not a mediator, so we don't have the same types of discussions with them as we do with Egypt and Qatar, but we do continue to have discussions about this with all of those parties.
I have one more on Ukraine for later.
Yeah.